Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred VC Died Laughing, and I am here today to kind of do a spooky books / autumnal book recommendations for autumn. So I just wanted to talk about some books that I've read that I think just have really good kind of October-y vibes. Not so much like Halloween-y vibes, just more that kind of misty autumn. Things are getting dark, things are getting a little bit more grim in the evenings. And kind of a book that you were just really happy to kind of snuggle up with a big duvet, hot water bottle, some hot chocolate or something, and to read. The first book I want to talk about is The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell. Laura Purcell is really good at doing kind of spooky gothic horror kind of books that, you know, just aren't really like in your face horror, but just that kind of unsettling, creepy feeling. So any of Laura Purcell's books, I've read 2 of her books. I think she has a new book coming out, or that has just come out this year as well, which I need to read. But The Silent Companions was her first book, and it is basically about a woman who has married this man, and she has moved to his, I think it's his family home, kind of in the countryside. And as soon as she gets there, she feels a little bit unsettled in the house, and she starts seeing these they're almost like these kind of cut out cardboard figures or wooden figures of people, and she starts like seeing them around the house. They're supposed to be like up in the attic, but she starts seeing them around the house, and she isn't sure if like there's actually some sort of supernatural thing going on, or if someone is kind of playing mind tricks on her. And then the whole story itself is kind of told from the future. We're kind of getting this story from the woman, and we know it from the very start of the book that she seems to be in some sort of home. She's either in like some sort of hospital or a mental home, and she is telling the story. So we kind of know that the story kind of has a pretty bad ending, or some sort of tragic ending, and we're kind of getting from when she moves into the house to that point where it seems that something has gone really wrong. So it's this really slow build up, this unsettling, creepy feeling. The best way I can describe this book is if you think of like a mist kind of going across the lawn and kind of slowly coming up towards you. That is what this book feels like. And it is, while it's a little bit of an unsettling feeling, it's also one that I really enjoy when books give it to me. So this is definitely one I recommend for this type of year. The next book I want to talk about is Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. This is the first Daphne du Maurier I read, and I've just recently read a second one, which was Rebecca. I've loved both of them, but Jamaica Inn is a really good one again for this time of year. It is about this young woman who moves to, I think it's Cornwall, and she moves in with her aunt and her uncle to kind of help them in their inn. And she kind of starts feeling straight away when she gets there things don't seem to be completely okay, and there seems to be some sort of crime lurking in the background. She isn't sure whether her uncle and her aunt are like swept up in this. It's something that's going on in the area, and she starts kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And this again, this kind of slow build up of a novel. It's very dark and dreary and rain and stormy and stuff like that. And again, a really good one to read when you're just like wrapped up in a blanket and you're cozy in your bed and you're reading about this like wet like weather and people like on coaches in the middle of the night and mud and everything like that. So it's a really great one in terms of the atmosphere, and just the descriptions of the weather and stuff like that is really great. So definitely a great one to read. Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling, is another one I want to recommend. Obviously this is the 3rd book in the Cormoran Strike series, so you do have to read the other 2 before you read this one. But I think this one for me was actually the spookiest. I actually haven't read the 4th one yet, shame on me, but Career of Evil was definitely the spookiest one for me. And I think it was just, it's darkest. I think it's the darkest out of the series, from what I've read so far. Out of the first 3, Career of Evil was definitely the darkest for me. We are following a detective, Cormoran Strike, and he starts getting these really weird messages from someone who seems to be kind of watching him, and he starts getting kind of packages sent to him that seem to be like of like body parts, and we don't know who these body parts are coming from, and it's just really kind of gross. It's a really good way of building suspense, a little bit stomach turning at times, and then you're getting some perspectives from the perpetrator. We don't know who he is, but we're kind of getting a look through his eyes at certain points, and the way he thinks is just so disturbing, and it definitely made me feel a little bit creepy, and it kind of spooked me a little bit. So I definitely think this is a great one to pick up. One that, you know, I would say it's kind of very an experience to read at nighttime, but it's definitely one that is very spooky. It's The Whisper Man by Alex North. I'm actually really glad to see a lot of people have been picking this up lately. I read this a couple of months ago and quite enjoyed it. This is I don't even think a couple of months ago, I think like a month ago. This is a kind of thriller book about a man who moves with his son to this village. They've both been having a hard time. His wife / the son's mother died in a so kind of the tragic circumstances. They're kind of trying to start afresh, start a new life. The boy seems to be a little bit like shy. He kind of keeps to himself, and they move to this new town, and they don't realise this town kind of has this legend where I think it was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, a bunch of children were murdered, and the person was caught, but the last body of the last boy was never found. And now it seems like 15 years later, another boy has gone missing, and it seems that there could be a copycat killer. And the whole point of this killer is that all the children said they heard whispers at their window at night time before they disappeared, and this little boy starts to hear whispers at his window, and it seems to be like he could be the next victim of this killer. And this is just, there's some bits in this book that just really creep me out, just this thought of this whispering at the window or at the door, and there are some scenes in this that have to do with the whispering that just chilled me to the bone, really freaked me out. I was like so deep into the book that when I was drawn out, I kind of felt like a shock as I drew myself out of the book and into like normal life and normal surroundings. It's definitely one that sucks you straight into the story, and yeah, there's some parts of it that are just so chilling and so engrossing. I really enjoyed it. And the last book I want to talk about is kind of a psychological thriller book that is kind of has some roots in what could be kind of fae mythology. That is Little Darlings by Melanie Golding. This follows a woman who's just given birth to twins, and we kind of start with her at the night at the hospital, as soon like a little bit after she's given birth to the twins. She's obviously exhausted, she is sore, and then she sees this woman in her wardroom who is like dirty, doesn't seem to be right, and starts telling her that she wants her babies and she wants to swap her babies for these ones that she has. And soon after that, the mother is like convinced that this woman is coming after her, is trying to get her children, and the whole thing is we're not really sure if the character is making everything up, if she's just seeing this, could this be some sort of postpartum psychosis on her part, or is it that she really believes that there is someone out there, is there actually someone out there trying to take her children, and we're kind of following that, and it's kind of up to the reader a little bit to decide what they think about this mother. Is she a little bit, you know, mentally unwell, or is it that there's someone really out there, or is there some kind of supernatural fae aspects of the story as well. I really enjoyed how this one is written. Definitely not one I would say to read if you've just had a baby or if you're just about to have a baby, because it could be a little bit scary in that sense of someone trying to take your children, but definitely a really great one to read this type of year, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really well written. So those are a few kind of spooky, unsettling books I think are really great reads for this time of year. Please let me know if you guys have any recommendations below, because I would love to find out, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.